to make the opening remarks and thereafter invite our partners so that we can proceed with the rest of the program, including the panel discussion that is the main focus of today. I don't want to tell you about the Institute because you all know the Institute. The only thing I want to ask you in regard to the Institute is that familiarize yourself. In the recent past, I have been a bit embarrassed by some of our members in some forums where you are asked, you tell them you can share with us about the Institute, or about, not the Institute, but about the CS profession. And you find as a member, but struggling to explain exactly what is CS, what does CS do. Some think that a CS is a minute take, others think. So familiarize yourself. We have given you a lot of materials. And the reason why I'm saying this year we started a program. Actually, it started last year, the first one last year with the University of Nairobi. But this year we have traveled across the country, all the regions of this country, and is on sensitization regarding the profession, and especially in institutions of higher learning. We have visited various universities, and we would want to enroll you, especially our young members, to help us in trying or preaching that gospel about the profession, because we believe that one of the ways of changing this nation, the struggles we are having as a nation, is to change the narrative of governance, how our institutions are governed. And that is the solution to our nation. And therefore, we need to bring on board quite a number of people in the governance profession, and we want to use you as our ambassadors. I'm only a bit worried, Vice Chair, that quite a number of us, those who are advocates, I usually don't find a problem with the rest of the professions, but those who are advocates, even when we have invited, you are paid for your breakfast, you are still introducing, I'm so an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, as if you are not aware that you are in the Institute event. Yesterday I was somewhere where I had been invited to talk about protocol. And part of the protocol actually is about titles. There are places I'll go and I don't need to use my FCS because it's not relevant there. But when I'm in an institute event, then FCS is very relevant. There are places you go, Prof. Moigwa, where if you say you are professor, actually you create a barrier from there on. So relevance, context is very important. So maybe agree from today, my fellow lawyers, that we want you, and you are in an institute event, you are first at a CS before you are anything else. Quite a number of these people, you also find their ISPA members, IHRM, rarely would use hear them. But I'm not saying that you should not say you are an advocate. Good. But because I also want us to promote our profession, may I also propose to you, even in those other forums, when you go to LSK and other events, if you are in an LSK event, of course, the most important one is that you are an advocate. But also say, I'm also a CS. But when you are in a ICS event, you are a CS, but I'm also a. So advocates come second, not the first one. Tumekubaliana ama tujakubaliana? Ukweli ama ukweli? Because I also want you to be our ambassador. The other thing I wanted to mention is our collaboration registrar. I think there are a lot that we can do together. The Institute, our primary goal is promotion of governance. When we look at governance, governance is made up of so many elements. And among them, among the issues that trouble, whether it's boards or other governing entities, is the issue of dispute. And therefore, there is a lot we can partner together in promotion of resolving governance disputes. As a matter of fact, quite a number of boards that we speak to, this is one of the challenges that they have, the issue of disputes, boardroom disputes, or organizational disputes, or even disputes among shareholders and all that. We've had quite a number of institutions, including professional associations like ours, LSK, ISPAC, and the rest, where you are having disputes in regards to even elections, election process. And therefore, we believe that this partnership that we have started, these engagements will go far in regards to promotion of how to resolve governance disputes in the boardroom and also in organizations. And with me, I have a number of our staff members. I know there are one or two who are at the registration desk, but may I see those who are present? I had seen two others. I don't know. Shaga, you have disowned me. You have disowned me. You say yes, yeah. Yes, Shaga there is an intern from the Public Service Commission, has been seconded to us, and I hope we are mentoring him well. I hope you have enjoyed our stay with us for the last 1 month. So we also have Kimeli. Kimeli is the officer responsible for capacity development, has been helping us in regard to trainings and other capacity development programs. We have Marion Koki. Marion Koki is in marketing and business development. She is the one who has been helping us on promotional activities. And then we have Hosea. Hosea is in charge of research. So as we get into this partnership, you'll be very key in helping us to drive that agenda of research. You can have your seats. Thank you very much. Finally, is to appreciate all of us for coming and invite you to participate. As we participate, let's also start thinking of what we have just mentioned. Where does governance and dispute resolution intersect? Because maybe one of the things we will be engaging with our partners after this is even to have a very well detailed curriculum on the same. And this, the way the Institute operates through its members, and therefore everything that we have at the Institute, even the standards, the governance standards, you have everything is usually developed by members, not the Secretariat. The work of the Secretariat is to facilitate, is to coordinate. Then whatever we have is normally done by members. It's a member-driven, it's a membership institution. And since you are all young people, I want to encourage you to actively participate in the activities of the Institute. Find a place to plug in. There are many options, there are many opportunities of plugging in. Whether you are talking of serving in a committee, volunteering, talk to Kimeli here, ask where can you volunteer, including as a facilitator. All the trainings we have are normally facilitated by members, not members of Secretariat, but members of the Institute. Talk to Kimeli here. We'll just say what do we need to help you in terms of your capacity building so that you are able to support us in some of those programs. Do we need, in the last few days, what we've been also been doing is to couple, especially the young members who want to be members of our faculty in terms of being facilitators. We have been coupling them with the seasoned trainers. So you co-facilitate, you go there as an assistant. If you're able to do that 1, 2, 3 times, then the next one you're able to facilitate on your own. That is part of the mentorship and development of our members that we are undertaking. So I know some of us, whenever you are called upon, the first thing you ask is how much are you paying? Don't just look at money. So look at building your capacity. If you put money first, you will never achieve anything as a profession. You look at building your capacity, serving fellow members, and building the profession, serving the nation. Of course, money will always come, but money is a product of having resolved a problem that the society has. And therefore, we want to partner with you, and so that we can support you in whatever you are doing. If for those of you who are in private practice, we want to support you to develop your business. And part of developing that business is what we are discussing. For example, during the campaigns we've been going around the country, part of what we've been doing is also educating the public on why they require a CS, a company secretary, in the organization. Even if the law does not require you are a SACCO, but the law does not require you to have a position of a secretary, a board secretary, but you've been encouraged in what is the value add. So if you are there and you are in those discussions, so we also telling them actually we have one of a potential board secretary here. But when you look at, if I join you, how much are you paying me? So you develop your business by such engagement. That is a free marketing that we are helping you. So we want to invite you. Our partners, we also invite you for on the 16th of April. We want to do, or rather we are constructing a training facility at the Institute, so that next time when you sponsor us for this breakfast, the cost will not be very high on your side. The only thing that you should incur is what we are going to eat, but at least for the venue, it will be available. So you are doing a 7-story building at the Institute premises, and the premises are funded by members through free donations. So some of you seated here, I can see from your eyes, you are able to, we are not looking for a lot of money, only 170 million. Jerry, that one you can afford. So this year we are doing the ground and first floor, which we expect to finish by October of this year. And for that, it will cost us around 60 million. So we are having what we are calling the first miles celebrations on 16th of April, just to celebrate where we have gotten up to. You know, for those who have been members for a while, that property, we obtained it in 2002. How many years are those? 20-something years, 22 years. And it has remained idle for 22 years. So having started the construction with a special support from one of our panelists here, FCS Dr. Wayne Mutuma, who has donated more than 6 million in that project. And is the one, actually I would say, were it not for him, I'm not very sure that we would have started off, because when we are starting we had not 0 shillings in our account. And he came and started us off. Now the contractor is already on the ground, construction is ongoing. So when you come on the 16th of April, you find a lot of development. So can you ask your neighbor, the CEO has given you special invitation to attend. So even if you don't have money, come. We want to see you there. Will you be coming?
Yes.
Can you tell me, if your neighbor has told you he'll be coming, he or she will be coming, raise up your hand on behalf of your neighbor. Good. With those many remarks, I want to invite our partners to take over from here. We highly appreciate as we move on with the program.
Thank you, Bwana CEO, for those comments. I now take this opportunity to welcome the host of this breakfast, the CEO, Nairobi Centre, and Registrar of Nairobi Centre for International Arbitration. Let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Miruri.
Thank you, Oscar. And because we have been exhorted to do certain things, I'll do them also. Let me own up, I'm also one of your members. I'm CS Lawrence Ngugi. So I'm in the right place. So today morning I'm CS Ngugi, but I'm also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And also sake of this breakfast, your host, CEO for the Nairobi Centre for International Arbitration. Unlike my colleague Karanja, because you are not familiar with NCIA, I want to assume you are not. I'll just say a few things about it, and then let the experts speak to us this morning. Why should we be hosting a breakfast to deal with the question of disputes? Nairobi Centre for International Arbitration exists because disputes exist. And they're here with us, and they're not going. Not tomorrow, not in the future. And so having admitted that we have a problem with us in the name of disputes, we find it necessary that we should be engaging, especially those who are at the center, at the heartbeat of making decisions that somehow impact on disputes in the subject of capacity building and knowledge sharing, and also enlisting them to be champions in the lead, especially to sensitize our communities, in this case, the corporates that you happen to be CSs, on the need to be prepared, both to detect, to manage, to prevent, and then resolve disputes. So in a sense, the breakfast, yes, is free, but the breakfast is also not free, because it is expected that arising out of the conversation we'll have today, we carry with us a medal of championing the practice of alternative dispute resolution, including in the governance piece. I don't know that it was Monday or towards the end of last week, one of the listed companies, I won't name which one, I saw a message come through, a leading figure in one of the listed companies has sued that company. A very huge amount of money. I'm not saying who, I'm seeing people mentioning names. Now, if you think about that kind of a claim, replicate it across the number of companies we have listed in the country. So one of the things it is telling you, these are people who are seated in boards. We normally say decisions are made in boardrooms before we see the effect of the decisions. If both are unable to resolve disputes of one of them, there's a problem. We ought not to be seeing these things in public. So you as CS, you might be thinking your role is just listing, take care of the legal issues below, but now you realize there are actually problems even within the governance structure itself. And so this session today could not have come at a more apt time than today. So Nairobi Centre for International Arbitration appreciates the partnership we have entered with ICS. Thank you, CEO, for agreeing to partner with us for this session today. It's just the beginning of what I hope will be many others. We want to work alongside you so that we can allow business to do what business exists to do, as we help it resolve the disputes that it shall encounter in the course of doing business. Then you might ask, why this particular group? Why the demography that is represented here? We also acknowledge that just by design, because of the fact that a lot of the people beyond that age were not exposed to the idea of alternative dispute resolution. Whenever we see disputes, we think court. But we also accept that we now have a demography that is more receptive to the idea of alternative dispute resolution. In other words, what we are saying, we are actually handing over a baton for you, as you are approaching disputes, to not think the way we have been thinking, because it is not beneficial. And since tuliambiwa, the future is yours. As we waited for that future, haikutupata. We want that future to be realized today for this demography, so that you become the drivers of effective and efficient dispute resolution in the institutions where you shall be sitting, or actually already sitting as CSs. And then just seeing again this week the debate that is going on in Parliament, it appears the useful life cycle of a human being in Kenya will be very short. If we are back to the 55 years retirement, CS, you told us this is 35, isn't it?
Yes.
So how long are we going to be effective in our professions? You see? So we want to tap it before it is over, so that for the next 20 years, at least you can have an impact. So there's a good reason why we have said we want to engage with you. So feel that you are in the proper place today, and we hope to be seeing you especially. We also do training, capacity building. I know your vice chair will also maybe mention one or two things that need to enhance your capacity to resolve disputes. And we are one of the institutions which also offers training in this area, arbitration, mediation, and of course moving to develop capacities in other areas, both domestic and international. And not just that, once your capacity is enhanced, what next? We have also come up with something we called apprenticeship membership in our panels, so that we will be, the challenge before has been, I have no experience. And you're asking me for experience for me to be listed in your panel. Where do you expect me to get the experience? We have overcome that barrier, allowing for those who are trained to be onboarded on our panels of mediation and arbitration. Of course, then we take you through a mentorship program with those who are qualified. And as you're gaining experience, then you can start to undertake matters, mediations, arbitrations. And then because this is a new area, corporate governance, you can already see you'll be investing. I agree with CEO. You may be plowing the money today, but you will have the harvest later. Perhaps after the 20 years again, now you will have re-engineered another 20 years beyond that of the profession of resolving disputes. Three things we normally emphasize. It is about exposure, it is about experience, and it is also about excellence. And so why we have put together the panel that will be speaking with you today is for you to see how you can also develop your potential in this career of alternative dispute resolution. And yes, as a member, and now again, of course, as an invitee, that you have invited us today, we shall be joining you on April 16. I have had a conversation around there. I think there's a check going around to be signed. So I don't know where the zeros have reached so far, but we shall be with you on the 16th. Asante sana.
Thank you. Yes, we ready. Now move to the panelist stage, and I'll be welcoming FCS Professor Mwigwa to come and welcome our panelists. Let's put our hands together for Professor Mwigwa.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I was told if you say you're a professor, you lose everyone. So let me start by saying you are a member in good standing. Karanja, you can check that, 966. And I have very fond memories of this organization, because we used to go to Mombasa every year for conferences. And we used to, let me tell it that way. And we would meet members who would tell us, I'm member number 001. With pride. Then 002. With pride. And I learned a lot from them. And I grew through them. And I became a fellow of this institute. One nice evening, I still remember the evening, So it's a place of growth, and it's a place of mentorship. Right now, I am in another organization also, where we mentor people, the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And as I introduce people, I'll be telling you who is from there as well. But this morning, we are here to discuss managing governance disputes through ADR. ADR, let me not assume you know, is Alternative Dispute Resolution. More recently, we want to call it Appropriate Dispute Resolution. Appropriate to mean it is something that is proper and fit, and we use it every day. Recognition of the fact that it's more common than we think. ADR would include negotiation, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, and other mechanisms. And you will find it, for those who like reading, in Article 159 of the Constitution, which is a mirror image of Article 33 of the UN Charter, that whenever a dispute occurs anywhere in the world, it shall be dealt with through negotiation, mediation, conciliation. The Kenyan Constitution talks about reconciliation, and then other mechanisms. There are those mechanisms that are called coercive mechanisms, where you have one party making a decision for you, like the court process, and also arbitration. Here this morning, we are focusing on the softer ones, like negotiations. You're talking to the other person. If you cannot talk, or if you reach a deadlock, you invite a third party to help you keep the conversation going. So within governance, within boards, we find that there are disputes and conflicts that occur, that happen between the shareholders and the company managers, between the shareholders and the public, between the board, shareholders, and regulators, like environmental regulators. And those things are dealt with, or are best dealt with, we argue, through ADR, through negotiation, conciliation, and mediation. Why? Because those mechanisms carry the attributes of confidentiality. The relationships between parties are not ruined, they are not mad. And then you don't expose your secrets to the public. This has been said. So the use of those mechanisms is important, but you can't use them if there is no capacity. So our aim this morning, as we listen to our speakers this morning, our panelists, is to try and build capacity, to plant that one seed that allows you to appreciate the role of ADR. ADR does not always work, and it has many limitations. For example, if you are in a mediation, you can only enforce it if you agree. And recently there is commercial mediation enforceable through the Singapore Convention, okay, which Kenya is going to accede to very soon. But even at government level, ADR is now recognized. And we have an ADR policy that was developed, and it's soon going to become their policy, finally. Where are we with that? Nairobi Centre? Still going on? It is in Parliament. We sat for 2 years and made it. Met a lot of people. So that ADR now is no longer that thing you say is nowhere. It is somewhere. You cannot ignore it. And knowledge around ADR is something you must have. So this morning then we have panelists who know something about it. And I'll introduce them one by one. Each of them has handed me bios I cannot handle because there are so many pages. So allow me to just summarize who you are, starting with I know you spoke about protocol, but I will not follow it. It is in no particular order. Let me start with FCS, Jacqueline Waihenya, Chartered Arbitrator. Do you come here or do I introduce you first until when they're shocked enough? Then thank you. She's a PhD candidate right now, trying to further her knowledge. But to the best of my knowledge, she has several master's degrees. But she's a governance expert, also a fellow of this institute and vice chair of this institute. But she's also our chair, the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. Okay, you can see where protocol is coming in. She shall come last, you know. So, as a governance profession, she's zeroing in on certain things like environmental governance itself, what is called ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and finance. And I believe she's going to talk about it when she comes up here. And she calls that advancing her academic journey. And to me, it sounds like a journey, actually. But it's very fulfilling to have gone through all that. But governance is something that keeps coming back. It won't go away. It is a joining thread across everything that we do. Jacqueline has been getting very many awards. We are jealous. Top 50 Women Legal Awards 2024. She was right there. Africa Influential Female Lawyers 2022. She was there. I sit with her in a board where she's an editor of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators Journal, co-convener of very many noteworthy publications. We've just released a series of books with Dr. Mutuma. Is that true or is that false? A series of books and a long-running publication called The State of ADR, which is something that is a must-read for all of us. This one is a patent agent. We'll have a private word later about that, isn't it? In keeping. So here is a person who has all those attributes and more, because common among all the people you have this morning is this desire of mentorship. They are all mentors. They mentor people across the board, starting with me, by the way. I'm a mentor, I'm a writer, and everything that I've ever written is in the public domain. You just need to click a link, I'll give you the link, so that you reach quickly where we have reached within a moment. So Jacqueline, you could come up here, and we give her a hand as she comes up. I have no clue. If you pass through here. No. Okay, fine. We can take the risk. Next, let me call Calvin Nyachoti, FCS, is a fellow of this institute, has been or is a council member. Are you still there? Council member? Has been a council member, has been chair of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Kenya branch. Calvin is a chartered arbitrator. Those are the big arbitrators you hear about, those big ones. But Calvin is a teacher and a mentor, and has mentored both lawyers, non-lawyers, FCSs, and CSs for more than 15 years. Indeed, Calvin is one teacher you would like to hear. Unfortunately, he doesn't have much time, but you'll hear what he knows. He's a governance expert, currently working in Kenyatta Hospital and several regulators. We give him a hand. Last but not least, we have Dr. Ken Mutuma, but we said we shouldn't introduce people by those titles. So FCS, also from your organization. I know Dr. Mutuma for many years, okay, let's just say 150. And he's also my colleague at the University of Nairobi, teaching many things, but mentoring the young ones. That's what we do. Okay, people ask us, why do you teach? It's mentoring the young ones, and I'm with him in the University of Nairobi. He's a corporate governance expert in charge of your journal. And I see you're not giving him enough articles, so I think he'll be calling for articles. He's a researcher, a very independent senior researcher, working on many publications, including that one I've just spoken to you about, the ADR, State of ADR book, and several books and publications. We have the ADR journal, and in the ADR journal we also have many publications, and you're welcome to contribute. So without further ado, let us give him a hand. And now, we look like we have a panel. So what do we do with them? What do we do with this panel? This is democracy. We look like we have slightly less than an hour. So what I propose we do is that we give each panelist 5 minutes to say something about the theme of this morning, ADR and governance disputes, from their perspective. It's not the same perspective.